what do you see out there that keeps women from really being ready to receive the love that they most deeply desire? Like, if you had to choose, what do you think is the biggest block out there?
Oh gosh, I would say it's probably a tie for first of not feeling worthy because of who you are. I think a lot of us are kind of brought up placing our value or our worth on what we can do and accomplish and give to others, all great things, but all very masculine energy qualities, right? Versus who you are, which is it's just more of a feminine energy way to come from, right? So men fall in love with you for who you are, not what you do. So if you don't feel worthy deep down, you're going to kind of feel compelled to do things and chase after a man, even in very subtle ways where we don't realize we're doing it, and kind of like go after him and win him over. All of these things push the right guy away, push masculine energy men away, especially. So yeah, I would say not feeling worthy. Now, of course, consciously you might feel worthy, but if deep down, you keep choosing men who aren't making you feel good, or it doesn't really work out, you might have some deeper things going on there. I would say that, and then a little bit of what I talked about before, maybe your beliefs about what's out there, because if you don't believe the right guy exists, he can't show up, right? You have to believe that the right partner for you exists. He's walking around on this planet right now. He's not like going to pass through some other, dimension through a membrane into this reality. Like he actually exists. So in order for him to show up, you have to believe he exists. And that's something that, it sounds a little strange, but it's something that a lot of women aren't really connected to. So I would say the combination of those two things is maybe the biggest thing I see preventing women from attracting the right guy, the right relationship.
Yeah, and I'll ask you the second question in a second, but I think this belief that he doesn't exist, or beliefs about yourself like you're too old, or you're too fat, or you're not enough this, or you're too much that, or whatever, it's almost like you have blinders on and you can't see the possibilities out there. It's like men could be around you, or there could be opportunities out there, but if there's a belief system operating even on an unconscious level that makes you believe in that scarcity, or that he's not out there, then you're going to have a hard time seeing him, even if he's right in front of you.
Oh gosh, that is so true. I've seen that in so many women, and they all say the same thing. Women who come to me who have this pattern of like feeling attracted to the wrong men and not being attracted to the great guys who just want to love them and give them everything. When they turn this around, they end up saying something very similar of like, he is so great. I'm so attracted to him now. I'm way more attracted to him than I ever was with any of those other unavailable men. But at first, I didn't really see how great he really was. At first, I was kind of like, yeah, he's a decent guy. I'll give him a chance. And he won her over. So you have to kind of slowly create this framework in your brain to feel worthy of receiving that, just like you said. But the great thing is, we don't really obsess about those guys very much, right? The good guys who just want to love us and to us, we tend to naturally be in our feminine energy. We tend to naturally choose those men from our feminine energy. That's where it starts to flow really easily. So it's about changing what feels familiar to you, truly. If you have a pattern of feeling attached or staying connected to men where you kind of know it's never going to work out, it has to do with kind of deep intimacy fears and fears of commitment, something that most of us can relate to. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into this, but yeah, hopefully this gives women out there a little kind of starting place, because it's a pretty common situation. From my perspective, it's kind of universal. Feeling attached to the wrong men, and then the right guy comes along and you don't quite feel it for him yet. So there's some work you need to do, usually subconsciously, to start turning some patterns around.
Yeah. So if a woman listening has identified that they kind of seem to attract the same kind of men, or the relationships seem to kind of go in the same direction or end the same ways, or that kind of thing, may be a clue that you're kind of used to doing the same choreography and dance steps, and that something on an unconscious level, at least to some degree, may be running the show. I always think about it like if we have a computer, we have a hard drive in the computer and it's running the show even though we don't see it. And I think that's kind of how like these subconscious things, beliefs about our own worthiness, or beliefs about whether or not the right person is actually out there, or whether that's still possible for you. if we sometimes don't see them, and we don't know that they're operating to the degree that they are underneath the surface, kind of like the computer hard drive.
Oh, wow. I love that. I mean, the image I got when you said that was like, you don't change what's going on your computer by like taking a Sharpie and writing on the computer screen. You have to change the programming, right? You have to go in and actually change some of your beliefs. So that, I love that. I totally agree with all of that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so the other question I wanted to ask you, and you've given so many tangible ideas and tips and ideas here that are so powerful. But what is one thing, if a woman really is in a place where she says, okay, I'm ready, I want to be ready to receive this love that I've desired for so long, what's one thing or one last little tip or piece of advice that you can give women that they can take away from this conversation right now today?
A great question. I'm so glad you asked that. Yeah, I would say see as much as you can, come from your feminine energy as much as you can when you're in the presence of a man, because that is a really kind of unnatural feeling at first. We're so used to, like, especially if you have your own career or you're raising kids, and we're used to always kind of lunging from one obligation to another. We're in doing mode so much of the time, or overthinking mode or analyzing. As much as you can drop into your feminine energy, right? Like lean back physically, mentally, emotionally, even verbally, just as much as you can, drop into your body, come from that feminine place, is what all my videos are all about on YouTube. There's so much to be said on that, but you're just constantly responding to a man from your feminine energy, trusting that the right guy is perfectly capable of stepping up and contacting you. You don't have to second guess yourself, right? So you're leaning back and just constantly responding to a man in a very warm, open, authentic way, if that's what feels true for you in the moment, rather than trying to make something happen continually with him. Even when I'm saying make something happen, I'm like leaning forward, I'm in my masculine, versus just responding, allowing things to unfold, allowing this man to show you if he's capable of doing the job in a relationship or not, rather than you being the one scrambling, trying to fit this whole thing together.